Their pick for the most moving story, though, and we have to get serious now, was a story about a very sick little baby. The show was called Playing God, and it was about transplants. Tell us about the people we're going to meet. Tell us about Maureen. Tell us about her baby, Megan.
Yes. What led to this, Geraldo, was our investigation of transplants. And what we uncovered was that every year in this country, there are thousands of people, children and adults, who die needlessly. It's not that we do not have the medical technology, is that this country lags way behind other nations in organ transplants. It's very much behind other countries.
Lee, how old was Megan at the time of the show?
She was 2.
And what did she need?
Heart transplant.
She needed a heart.
Yeah, and she was very sick. And one of the problems that we came up with in doing our research was that it's an ethical question. Part of the problem is that who do we give an organ to? You know,
because
in this
they're so
case,
limited.
exactly. Megan was very sick too, and you know, as you have to understand that the parents will do anything to save their child, but some doctors will believe that the child is too sick to receive an organ.
So they go for the one with a better chance. Okay, before we meet the people involved personally, why don't we take a look back at that clip on organ transplants?
Well, first I have to explain, she went into cardiac and respiratory arrest along with the stroke. And with the stroke, there was incredible swelling of her brain. And we knew that it was imminent that she needed the heart transplant. However, it was while she was in the hospital for 3 weeks, it was becoming, you know, more abundantly clear that there was something a little more drastically wrong with her. She couldn't function like a normal, at that time she was 7 months old, and she was not functioning anything more than a newborn.
Here's Megan's mom, Maureen Jaret. Maureen, I'll put you right up here. You know Bill and Lee. You sit right there. Let me get your microphone on. So why don't you help Maureen with the mic? The first question, did Megan get the heart that you so desperately were seeking?
Yes, she did. In fact, it was on Friday the 13th in September that we got the call. It was at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and she had actually gotten the transplant at 2 o'clock in the morning, so that was on the 14th.
What happened?
It was a huge success. She did beautifully. She progressed so rapidly. Within 4 days, she was in her walker, out of intensive care, and she was in her walker walking up and down the halls. We were hoping that by that Sunday we were actually going to be going home because she was progressing so well, but she caught an infection. So we ended up being in the hospital for about 4 weeks total.
And what happened?
Well, we went home on October 8th, and she was doing beautifully. You know, according to that segment that you just showed, they had told me she was brain damaged and she would never walk or talk or see again. And she was walking and dancing, and she was calling her grandmother Nana, and she was really doing beautifully. And then on Friday, October 18th, she got very sick. And we took her back to Columbia Presbyterian Hospital, where they had found out she had got an infection. And she went into cardiac arrest because the infection had taken over her entire body. And on October 23rd, she passed away.
Was the excruciating pain of the search for the heart, was the torment of the operations and the waiting and the anxiety, was it all worth it for the scant weeks that she got?
Absolutely. Keith and I, my husband, we would do it again in a minute. Before, she had no chance. Without a heart transplant, there was absolutely no chance of her surviving. And with the transplant, she had a chance. You know, they told me she would never walk, and she walked. She walked the day before she got sick. And she really had a chance at a really full life. And it was just unfortunate that she had gotten this infection, and it had taken over her entire body.
At least you saw her
exactly happy,
well
smiling. She was so
to say hello to Grandma.
Yeah, She was so strong that you could see it in her eyes and her face and her whole attitude toward everything. It was like she was given a new lease on life, and I would never trade that for anything in the whole world.
Maureen wears a button. I'll read it for you. Don't take your organs to heaven. Heaven knows we need them here. And the Geraldo Show endorses that feeling 100%. Bless you. We'll be right back. Yes.
This is to Wendy and Ginger. Why was the stepfather put in jail?
Well, he was, what was he, an armed robber or something?
Violation of probation from the 70s.
And what was he guilty of in the 70s? A robber, wasn't he? He was a robber. Yes, quick.
I have a comment for Maureen. I'm a registered nurse in Tennessee.
She's over there. Quick.
And we have an obligation as nurses to approach families when someone's dying, and that's always been real difficult for me, but I'm also a mother, and it'll be a lot easier now.
Isn't that nice? Quick.
Can I just say one thing? I want to thank the whole staff at Columbia Presbyterian for their courage, for their strength, and most of all for the love that they gave us, and for the people in Belleville, New Jersey.
All right. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. Another year has ended. We're all done, but we'll be back next year. So on behalf of all of us, to all of you, we love you. Thank you very much. We met Maureen, the lady who joins us, the gracious lady who joins us on our studio stage. We met Maureen and her lovely daughter, Megan. Megan was an 18-month-old at the time in dire need of a heart transplant. Take a look. Did Megan get the heart that you so desperately were seeking?
Yes, she did. In fact, it was on Friday the 13th in September that we got the call. It was at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And she had actually gotten the transplant at 2 o'clock in the morning, so that was on the 14th.
What happened?
It was a huge success. She did beautifully. She progressed so rapidly. Within 4 days, she was in her walker, out of intensive care, and she was in her walker walking up and down the halls. They had told me she was brain damaged and she would never walk or talk or see again. And she was walking and dancing, and she was calling her grandmother Nana, and she was really doing beautifully. And then on Friday, October 18th, she got very sick. She went into cardiac arrest because the infection had taken over her entire body. And on October 23rd, she passed away.
Maureen, the reaction the same today as it was back then. Maureen Jaret, give her your applause. Was it worth it, all the pain you went through, all the suffering, all the anxiety to get the heart?
Absolutely. I would go through it all over again. The success from what we saw Meg before she had the surgery, you know, where she was very weak. She couldn't sit. She was 18 months old before she was able to sit on her own. And after the surgery, it was like a whole new person, an entirely new person. She was sitting and she was walking and she was talking. And she would look at my husband and I as if, wow, what has just happened to me? I feel wonderful. And you could see it in her attitude, in her just the way she did everything. And I would not take a minute of it away.
And how long did she have between transplant and the time she passed away?
It was 5 weeks. We had 8 days at home. We had 1 month in the hospital. And those 8 days are more precious to Keith and I than anything in the whole world.
So she was your only child?
Yes, she was.
So what happened?
Well, when we had done that show, I had already found out that I was pregnant, and it
Were you
was just
scared?
kind of. Pardon me?
Were you scared?
I was terrified, absolutely. In fact, it was not something that we were able to deal with because we were in so much mourning, and we had put so much of ourselves into the year and a half that we had with Meg that I just couldn't imagine myself being able to love another child as much as I loved Meg.
Did you worry whether the child would be born with the same affliction?
Yeah, because the problem was they were not able to tell me emphatically she got sick because of a virus. And they said it was a 90% chance, and it was not good enough for me, and we had every test imaginable that we were able to have. And
is Keith here?
Yes, he is.
Come on out, Keith. Keith's not there.
Yeah.
Oh, Kelly's there.
Yeah, Kelly is here. Keith,
well, who's going to walk Kelly? Oh, Cindy, the producer. Here's Kelly. Look at Kelly. Oh, isn't she a doll? Isn't she a little doll? Oh, she's precious. She's just so sweet.
Thank you.
So how is she?
She's perfect. Absolutely perfect from head to toe.
And as a result, so are we. We'll be right back. You know, it is amazing, Maureen, how much she looks like Megan.
Yeah. In fact...
Can you do a split screen? Don, make a split screen so they could see these two children side by side. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Maureen.
In fact, right now, she's 4 months old. She weighs exactly the same that Meg weighed at 15 months old.
Really?
I feel like I have this super kid because she
Look,
can sit.
There's a split screen. Look at that. They're like twins. Oh, you feel blessed. It's almost like...
It actually is very difficult sometimes because she'll do things and it's like, wow, I can't believe that's...
Really?
You know, she does so much.
But it's like it's almost like reincarnation in a way.
Yeah.
Do you feel that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I was terrified that I...
We hear all the noise. It's like a daycare center on the stage right now. I'm sorry, you saying?
I was absolutely terrified that I couldn't possibly love her as much and that she wouldn't be as special to me, and she turned out to be even more special because she's so strong and healthy. I don't know what a healthy child is, and to me this is, I keep calling people up and say, oh my God, she drools, she does this, she does that. Like, it's the most amazing thing.
I got my first smile the other